The planet Varian was a world of silver skies and forests that glowed faint blue at night. Its air was thin, and the rivers ran wide and strong. To humans, it was a dangerous place. But for Lena Hart, it was her only chance to survive. Her ship had fallen from orbit 2 days ago, torn apart by a storm of lightning that danced like living things. She had ejected in time, landing near a dense forest. Her landing pod was half buried in mud, its power dead, its beacon silent. The planet's night was long, and its creatures were not friendly. Lena had learned to move quietly, keeping her survival pack close, her pulse scanner ready. She had found shelter near a cliffside cave beside a fast-flowing river. It was cold, but the sound of water calmed her mind. For 2 days, she tried to fix her comm link. She had food for a few more days, but no signal to reach her team in orbit. Still, she refused to give up. Humans adapt, she whispered to herself. That's what we do. On the morning of the 3rd day, she woke to a strange sound, not the growl of the forest beasts, not the hiss of the wind, but a high-pitched cry. It came again, desperate and weak, carried by the rush of the river. Lena frowned and grabbed her scanner. It wasn't human. The signal had a dual heart pattern, something alien and small. Her boots splashed through the mud as she followed the sound. The cries grew louder. When she reached the edge of the cliff, her eyes widened. Below, the river churned around sharp rocks. In the middle of the current, a small creature struggled against the water, fur matted, claws scraping, eyes wide with terror. It looked like a child, but not human. Its ears were pointed, and its silver-gray fur shone under the weak sun. Without thinking, Lena dropped her gear and ran. She followed the slope down to the riverbank, her boots slipping on wet stones. The creature screamed again as the current pulled it under. "Hold on," she shouted, though it couldn't understand her. Lena dove into the freezing water. The current slammed into her chest, spinning her around, but she fought through it, pushing with her arms and legs. She saw a flash of silver, the small body going under, and grabbed it just in time. The creature was light but limp. Its fur tangled around her arm as she kicked toward the bank. The current pulled them both downstream. Her lungs burned, her arms ached, but she refused to let go. When she finally reached a rock ledge, she dragged the small body out of the water and collapsed beside it, gasping for breath. It wasn't breathing. Lena's heart pounded. "No, no, no," she whispered. She had seen this before in training on missions. She quickly tilted its head back, pressed her ear near its mouth. No breath. She pressed down on its chest, counting. Then she gave it 2 breaths, just like in the old emergency drills. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the creature coughed, a weak sound, but alive. Water spilled from its mouth. Its chest rose and fell. Lena let out a shaky breath of relief. "You're okay," she said softly, though she doubted it understood. "You're safe now." The little one opened its golden eyes, glowing faintly, almost like molten metal. It blinked at her, confused, then clutched her arm weakly. It made a soft whine, a sound of fear, but also gratitude. Lena smiled. "It's all right. I've got you." She carried it to her cave, wrapping it in her emergency blanket. It shivered, so she lit a small heater beside them. As it warmed, she examined it carefully. Its body was lean and strong, but young, maybe the equivalent of a 6-year-old human. Its claws were small, its fur patterned with dark stripes on the back. "What are you?" she murmured. Her scanner beeped softly. The reading showed intelligent neural patterns. The creature belonged to a species called Lutheran, native to Varian, known to be highly territorial and proud. "Oh no," Lena whispered. "You're one of them." The Lutherans were rumored to be dangerous. Some explorers called them the Wolf Kings of Varian. If this one was young, it meant an adult pack was nearby. And if she was found with it, things could go very wrong. Still, she couldn't abandon it. She cleaned the small cuts on its arms, gave it a few drops of nutrient fluid from her kit. It slept, breathing softly. By evening, the forest grew quiet. Lena sat by the fire, staring at the stars. She thought of her crew, of Earth, of how strange fate could be. Guess saving lives is still part of the job, she said to herself with a tired smile. But her peace didn't last. A deep, thunderous roar shook the night. It wasn't from far away. The sound carried across the river and through the trees. Her scanner blinked red, multiple heat signatures approaching fast. "Damn," she whispered. "They're coming." She picked up the pup and wrapped it tightly. The little one stirred and whimpered softly. It's okay." Then she saw them, tall figures with glowing eyes moving through the shadows. Their armor gleamed silver and black, their movements graceful but deadly. They surrounded her cave in seconds. "Put down the youngling," one of them shouted in a deep, growling voice. Lena raised her hands slowly. "I saved him. He was drowning. I mean no harm." They didn't understand her words at first, but her tone and actions were clear. Still, they looked furious. One stepped closer, sniffing the air. His voice came again, translated through her scanner. "You touched royal blood?" "Royal?" she repeated, confused. The leader barked a command, and two warriors stepped forward, grabbing the pup from her arms. It woke and whimpered, reaching back toward her. "Hey, easy," Lena protested. The leader raised his weapon, a spear with a glowing tip. "Human trespasser, you will come with us." Lena glanced toward the forest. She could run, but not far. The weapons looked energy-based, fast and deadly. And if she ran, they might kill her on sight. "All right," she said quietly. "I'll come." They bound her wrists with a silver cord that hummed faintly, draining her strength. The warriors formed a circle around her and the pup, who now rested safely in one of their arms. The leader touched his wrist plate, and a hovering craft appeared above the trees. Lena stared as they lifted off. The craft was sleek and silent, its surface reflecting the moonlight. It flew over rivers and forests, faster than any Earth ship she had ever seen. After some time, lights appeared on the horizon, a massive fortress built into a mountain. Towers of stone and metal reached into the sky, and banners of crimson and gold waved in the wind. "The city of Verkath," her scanner translated softly. They landed in a courtyard filled with armored guards. The air was thick with power and discipline. Everyone stopped and bowed as a tall figure approached, taller than any of them, wrapped in dark armor with a long fur cloak. His presence was like thunder in human form. The guards knelt. "Alpha King Rajar," they said as one. Lena stared. The king's eyes glowed gold, his expression hard and unreadable. His voice was deep and calm as he looked at her. "You are human," he said slowly, his accent rough but clear. "Yes," Lena replied, standing as straight as she could. "My ship crashed. I found your child in the river. I saved him." A murmur spread through the guards. The king's gaze shifted to the pup, who was now awake and clutching the guard's fur. When the child saw Lena, he reached out toward her and made a soft sound. Rieger's eyes narrowed slightly. "He calls to you." Lena nodded carefully. He was drowning. You couldn't just watch him die. The hall went silent. One of the elders stepped forward and growled. "She touched royal blood. The law forbids it." Rajay lifted a hand, silencing him. His golden eyes studied Lena for a long time. "You risked your life for my son. You asked for nothing." "I didn't do it for reward," she said. "It was the right thing to do." A low rumble spread through the crowd. Confusion, disbelief. To them, such selflessness was rare. The king's face softened, just slightly. "You speak of right and wrong, human. Onvarian strength decides what is right." "Then maybe mercy is your strength," Lena said quietly. Rhaegar looked at her as if seeing something new, something alien, yet powerful. Finally, he turned to his guards. "The human will not be harmed. She saved my heir. She is under royal protection." The guards bowed, though many looked shocked. As they led her to the guest chambers, Lena glanced back. The young prince smiled weakly at her from the king's arms. Rhaegar followed her with his golden eyes calm, but thoughtful. In that single moment, something ancient began to change in the kingdom of Verkath. A human had touched royal blood, not with fear, but with compassion. And the Alpha King of Varian, a ruler bound by law and pride, found himself wondering for the first time. Could a fragile human heart hold a strength greater than any warrior's blade? Alina awoke to the soft hum of the palace. Sunlight filtered through the large windows, painting golden patterns across the floor. The alien forest outside glimmered in strange shades of green and blue. Birds, or at least creatures that looked like birds, soared above the treetops, their wings sparkling with light. Alina rubbed her eyes and took a deep breath. Today she would see more of the lichen world, and the thought made her stomach twist. The door opened without a knock, and the Lichen King stepped inside. His fur glimmered in the morning light, his amber eyes fixed on her with calm intensity. "Good morning," he said softly. "Are you ready?" Alina swallowed hard. "I think so." He nodded, silently approving, and gestured toward the window. "Come, the forests await." She followed him, walking through halls filled with alien art, glowing plants, and the soft scent of unknown flowers. Lichens passed by, bowing slightly, their eyes respectful but wary. The king moved confidently, his presence commanding the space around him. Alina felt small, but also strangely safe. Outside, the air was crisp, filled with the scent of pine and wet earth. The king led her to the edge of the forest. The trees were massive, with twisted trunks and leaves that shimmered like glass. A river ran nearby, its waters glowing faintly. Alina's eyes widened. She had never seen anything like this before. "Be careful," the king said. "The forest is beautiful, but it is also dangerous." Alina nodded, gripping the king's large hand. Together, they stepped into the forest. Her boots crunched against the glowing undergrowth. Every sound, the whisper of leaves, the distant roar of an unknown creature made her heart race. They walked in silence for some time. The king's presence was reassuring, but Alina felt her fear still simmering under her skin. Suddenly, the forest grew darker. The trees became denser, and the soft glow of the river faded. A low growl echoed from the shadows. Alina froze. "What is that?" she whispered. The king's eyes narrowed. "Predators. They sense intruders. Stay close to me." Before she could respond, a pack of alien creatures emerged. They were larger than wolves, but had scales like armor and eyes that glowed like molten gold. Their claws dug into the soft ground, and their teeth gleamed under the dim light. Alina's stomach churned with fear. "Run," she thought, but the king's growl froze her in place. He stepped forward, towering over the creatures. His muscles rippled as he moved, and his fur bristled with power. The creatures hissed and backed away slightly, sensing his strength. Alina took a deep breath. She could feel the fear rising, but also a strange clarity. Her mind, trained in human logic and strategy, began to analyze the situation. The creatures moved in predictable patterns, circling and testing his reactions. She noticed gaps in their formation and small weaknesses in their movements. "King," she whispered, "aim for the left flank. Their leader is slower there." He paused, turning his amber eyes toward her. "Do you think you can help?" "Yes," she said, her voice firmer than she expected. "I see how they move. I can guide you." For the first time, the king hesitated, then nodded. "Very well. Speak, and I will follow." Alina's heart raced. "Now, move left, then strike together." The king moved with incredible speed, lunging at the creatures with precision. Alina directed him, pointing out openings and weaknesses. Together, they drove the predators back, the king's power amplified by her guidance. The creatures fled into the darkness, their glowing eyes disappearing into the shadows. Alina's chest heaved with adrenaline. She had just helped the Lichen King in combat, and it was terrifying and exhilarating. The king turned to her, his expression unreadable. "You have courage," he said softly. "Few humans would have the clarity to act in such a moment." Alina shook her head. I just thought. It was instinct, I guess." "No," he corrected. "It was your mind. Human minds are clever, Alina. You see patterns where others see chaos. That is valuable." She looked up at him, surprised. The king was praising her. Her fear for a moment felt like it melted into pride. "Come," he said, guiding her back toward the palace. There is much to learn, and you will need rest before the evening ritual. Even as they walked, Alina could feel the forest around them alive. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, and she realized that danger was never far. But with the king at her side, she felt capable. Back in the palace, Alina was given a bath filled with glowing water and scented herbs. She sank into the warm liquid, her muscles relaxing. Yet even in this safety, she could not stop thinking about the forest, the creatures, and the king's soft, commanding voice. That evening, the king came to her chamber. He did not enter immediately, standing at the doorway as if waiting for permission. Alina nodded, and he stepped inside, his presence filling the room. Tonight, he said, his voice low, we will speak of the council and the threats beyond our borders. Alina nodded, sitting on the edge of the bed. I want to understand. I want to help. He studied her, amber eyes gleaming. Humans are not warriors like lichens. You do not have the strength of my kind. Yet you have a mind and a heart. That can be more powerful than muscle. Alina blushed. I don't know if I can do it. You will, he said softly. Do not hide from me, Alina. Trust yourself and trust me. The king guided her to a viewing platform that overlooked the palace walls and the surrounding forest. From there, she could see fires burning in distant villages and hear the low roars of creatures moving in the night. Lichens patrolled the perimeter, vigilant and silent. See that? He asked, pointing to a shadow moving near the river. That is a scout. Another pack seeks to challenge our borders. Lena's mind raced. She had been studying the patterns of the predators all day. They are moving in groups of 3. They keep the youngest in the middle. If you set a trap near the river bend, you could catch them off guard. The king tilted his head. You have a sharp mind. We shall try your method. They spent hours planning. Alina suggested positions, predicted movements, and calculated risks. The king listened, occasionally growling softly in approval. By the time they finished, the strategy was set. Blending human logic with lichen strength, as the night deepened, Alina realized something strange. She was no longer trembling as much. The king's presence, his gentle yet firm guidance, and the trust he placed in her had built a strange bond. She could feel her fear transforming into determination. The king knelt beside her once more, his amber eyes studying her face. You are growing stronger, Alina. You face your fears. That is admirable. Alina looked down, unsure how to respond. I just want to help. I don't want to be weak. You are not weak, he said. You are human. That means you adapt. You learn. You survive. That is strength in its own way. For a moment, Alina felt a warmth spread through her chest. The Lichen King, so powerful and ancient, saw value in her not just as a bride, but as a partner, as a mind to be relied upon. When they returned to her chamber, the king lingered at the door. Rest now. Tomorrow, we face new challenges. And remember, do not hide from me. Alina nodded, her eyes softening. For the first time, she believed that she could survive. Here, not just survive, but contribute. She lay down, feeling the soft glow of the room and the alien world outside. Her mind buzzing with strategy, courage, and a strange sense of connection. Outside, the forest whispered, alive with secrets. Somewhere in the shadows, dangers waited. But Alina knew that with the Lichen King beside her, with his trust in her mind, she could face whatever came. And for the first time, she felt like she belonged, not fully, not yet, but close enough to begin.